So, you started to pay attention to some of these survival shows, and you're thinking maybe one of these days I'm going to need to start a fire. So what should I buy for my kit? Well, according to Survivalist magazine, this could be the best fire starter there is. Or maybe this one, the best one for your emergency kit. Let's find out if they know what they're talking about. Hey guys, Ernie here, and welcome to the Paleo Hiker MD channel. It's another hot and sweaty day here in Louisiana. Today on the channel, we're going to be doing an outdoor arena review on some pretty awesome fire starters. The Lightning Strike fire starters, both the small and the large. So stay tuned and let's see what these things are all about. So first we're going to take a look at these bad boys and see what they're made of and how they work. And next, I'm just going to spend a little time here out in the woods by my parents' house and collect some natural tinders. My theory is this: somebody may want to buy this particular product, with not a lot of experience in survival, knowing, look, one day I may need to build a fire and I really need to make sure I can do it. So is this something you would spend the money on? So we're going to gather some natural tinders, try to do as minimal processing as we can, as if someone was literally just going to grab this stuff and try to light it on fire. And we're going to see how these things work. So this is the larger size, okay? What we have here is an aluminum casing. The ferro rod is inside of that channel right there, okay? It is replaceable. The striker is on the end, okay? This comes off, and we'll look at these later, but there's some proprietary fire starters in there. And the point of this is that you really they wanted to try to make it so that it's very user-friendly for people that don't use these kinds of things all the time. So you literally, I'll put it like this, you put the striker in the channel and you just move it. And that way there's only one way to move it. You can only move it up and down this channel. And it just, shoots sparks pretty well. We'll take a better look at that once we get it down on the ground. Here's the other one, very similar concept, just a little bit smaller. Removable ferro rod in there. And nice striker. So let me look around and gather some natural tinders, and we'll see what this thing can do. So again guys, what I'm looking for is tinders, and we're going to try to keep them in as natural a state as possible and see if they'll catch a flame. Okay, we're going to start with a cedar tree. We've got several here on the property, and let's take a look at that. Alright guys, first thing you can do when you find a cedar tree is try to get some bark. Don't need a knife or anything, and it comes right off. So we're going to collect this. Okay guys, the next thing we're going to look at is, you can see here are the leaves of the cedar. And you can see in here, you can see here well, there's a lot that are dead. These are very dry. So I'm going to collect some of these dead cedar branches. Get these out in the light, you can see. You want the dead ones, obviously not the green. It's kind of hard to do with the camera, but I'm going to go through and collect a lot of these dead ones. Now you can use these together with the bark, but we're going to look at these individually. Certain times of year there's a lot of this dead cedar branches lying all around, so we're going to try that. Alright, so for our next try, you can see all this pine straw everywhere. And even though it is hot and it is dry, this pine straw can be difficult at times. So let me show you guys a little trick if you ever are looking for pine straw. Hold on. So here we go guys. You can look up and see a tree like this. All this straw is up off the ground, so you know it's going to be really dry. Once it's on the ground, you have the potential of having even moisture off of the ground floor getting onto it. So stuff like this that's hanging up, just go through, pick it off, collect a nice big bundle. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, so 3 readily accessible sources of fire: cedar bark, dried cedar branches, and dry pine needles. So let me get these fire strikes out and see what they can do. Okay guys, so first we're going to start with this cedar bark. You can take either one of these. I'm just going to take the large one. I have not processed this at all. I've not touched it. I just put it down. Now that's not the best way to utilize it, but let's see if it works. So the edges where there's some stringiness to it is where it's almost catching. So I'm going to grab a couple of pieces here, hopefully ones that aren't already charred. This. Put between my hands. And you're going to get this super fluffy material here. You can see it catching. It just doesn't have enough of the processed material to really go. Now one of the things that I don't like about it is it seems like when you put it right on the ground, it seems to kind of snuff out some of the oxygen. So I say cedar bark by itself, minimal processing, no go. Let's try the next one. Alright guys, this is cedar branches. Fluffy, dry cedar branches. Let's see what we get. Tell you, it may not be catching, but it sure smells good. There we go. Close. Change the technique a little bit. Just from the top here. There you go. We got that going. Now obviously you'd have to create, have your material together. I wonder now if I had cedar bark, and we may go back and try that technique where I flip it on from the top. I think when I'm pushing it down, I'm killing all the oxygen. So you know what? I'm going to go grab a little bit more cedar bark and let's try that again. Alright guys, now I use pine needles a lot when I make fires. I would tell you that there's no doubt with this ferro rod you can get this started. Just a question is whether or not you can do it really easily without a lot of processing, which is the theory of my video here. So let's just put some sparks into it. Ah, wind just put it out. Now that's pretty cool because again, just throw the pine straw on the ground and give it a spark. And it does give you fire. Now you need to know what to do as far as putting your different stages of kindling together and your fuel and all that. If you learn a little bit, if you watch a little bit of YouTube or whatever, you can easily start a fire like this. Alright, so I'm pretty pleased with that. I think that utilizing these seems to be pretty good. It puts out very good spark. The technique's going to be to go above your piece of whatever you're trying to light and just shower right onto it. And it does produce extremely hot sparks, which is great. Let me show y'all one thing. If you do use this as a emergency kit item, in the back here, it does have these fire starters now. It comes as a big old disc like this, all right? But let me show you something. Now, if I put this disc down and I light it, it's gonna go up into flames. But look, guys, if you're in a survival situation, you want to save as much as you can. If you just get a top little layer of this thing, pull it off, all right? There you go. You get yourself some even marginal stuff. Put that piece of material right there, kind of cover it a little bit so that it'll get just a little bit of oxygen. Put some spark in there. And with just a little bit of the supplied fire starter material, not a whole disc, just a little bitty bit, okay? And one disc could last you for 10 fires if you're smart about it, if you get the right material. Once you get it going, guys, even marginal stuff will go if you just give it time. You can see how wet this straw is with all that smoke. But once you get the bottom going decently, you're really going to have a chance to make a good fire every single time. Alright guys, so big question. What do I think about these things? Well, they're very nice fire starters. These run for $60 each, even the big or the little. Doesn't really matter, which I don't really get, but nonetheless, $60 each. So for somebody like me, is this worth it? No, I mean it's not. I can get a very inexpensive ferro rod from eBay, from Amazon, from wherever, even to light my fire, which is a lot smaller, and I can make it work very easily. But I have knowledge on how to make a fire, so that's very important. I think that if you have a lot of knowledge on how to make a fire, this is probably overkill. Now, that said, if you're looking for something for an emergency kit and you really don't either A, have ever started a fire by yourself, or you have very little experience and you just kind of know what you're doing, you've watched some YouTube videos, you have an idea, these actually could be very good for you for a couple of reasons. First, they're very easy to create a spark. The channel itself makes making the spark very easy. Second, they produce tremendously hot sparks, and that's important if you have marginal timber, or excuse me, if you have marginal tinder, if you are in an environment where it's a little bit moist, whatever it might be. So that's great as well from this particular product. Lastly is those little fire starters on the inside. You can give them a whiff. They smell like they have a little bit of a fuel additive, something petroleum based for sure. So you take that in a situation where you don't know how to make a fire very well, it may be a little bit rainy, things might be a little bit marginal from the standpoint of tinder, and those petroleum soaked discs will make a huge difference. Now, of course, most of us know that you can take cotton balls and smear petroleum jelly in them and get a very similar product. But there are people who are very much looking for something high quality, fail safe, that they can keep in their emergency pack and know that they can probably get something done even if they've never done it before. It's probably a pretty good product for you. So, Lightning Strike fire starters, tremendous products, just overpriced. I think that there's a place for them in certain people's bags and certain people's kits. They wouldn't find a place in my bag or kit just because I'd rather spend $10 on another ferro rod and spend $50 on something else that I could use. But for somebody who doesn't have a lot of experience, I think they're a great product, and I think that they're exactly what they are saying they are. A very easy to use fire starter for inexperienced bushcrafters or survivalists. So that's it guys, another outdoor arena review here on Paleo Hiker MD. Appreciate you guys tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed checking out these awesome fire starters. There's a lot of questions about them, and I was really excited to get to review them because they're so popular and they're so highly rated. Trust me, they work really, really well. The question is whether you want to spend the money on them. That's a decision for you to make. As always guys, I appreciate you guys watching Paleo Hiker MD. Look forward to more videos here coming up soon. Our house is getting there. We're starting to paint and we should be in within 4 to 6 weeks. And that's pretty exciting. So like, comment, subscribe. Always guys, it helps so much if y'all give me the thumbs up down there. It really helps support the channel. So have fun out there and stay safe.